Welcome to Leave It Better. My dad says every person we meet leaves a mark on our lives, and every choice we make can leave a mark on the world. This is a space for hope, for love, and for stories that remind us we are all connected. So take a deep breath and let's leave it better together.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Leave It Better podcast. I am entertaining my first guest by the name of Carmen Jones. Carmen, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No problem at all. Thank you for making the time. I really appreciate it. I have never met Carmen personally. I met her through Instagram. I've been following her for a long time, and her story has always intrigued me. And I named this episode like Grace and Grit because she really embodies that to me, right? Like, so she's graceful when she needs to be graceful, but she's not scared to get gritty and get down to some tough subjects when she needs to. So I felt it was the perfect name for the episode because she embodies both of those things. So Carmen, thank you really for saying yes. She was the first person to ask. Not only did she say yes, she encouraged me on the journey. I told her I was doing this scared. She's like, no, go ahead and do it. This is going to sound great, right? And at that time, she didn't know that I needed that, but I did need it, right? And that to me is part of what Leave It Better is, right? It's just like small, intimate moments, small occasions where you can leave somebody a little bit better. She didn't have to do that. She didn't have to say yes, one, and she didn't have to encourage me. So she did both. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I feel great coming into this interview. Wow. What a boost.
Yeah. No, and I think sometimes we don't know, right? Like the effect that we have on people. And that's what I learned when I went away, like for my 50th birthday, when people encouraged me and talked about what I've done for them. I didn't notice because I was just showing up, right?
Mhm.
And I didn't think it was a big deal, but it was for some people. So I wanted to thank you again for that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Problem. So I really want to know like your journey, like kind of talk about your personal journey, how you got started, and we'll just take it from there. And before you go there, let me just give people a little bit of background.
Mhm.
She is an entrepreneur. She's doing amazing, amazing things. College graduate. She's doing it all. Like, but she's going to tell you her story. But I just want to give you a
Yeah.
little bit of background.
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it short. My journey started off, I grew up in a two-parent household, with a amazing father who was super pro-black, and he was really big on education and learning, and I
Hmm.
think I got a lot of my spunk and spirit and entrepreneurial um acumen from him. My mother was a very social person. I mean,
Hmm.
she never met somebody who she wouldn't call a friend or never met a stranger. And she was just very outgoing and free.
Right.
And when I look back on it now, I'm like, wow, she was a free woman for that era that she was living in. And
Hmm.
so, I went off to college, went to Howard. I refused to go to any other school. My parents were like, please, other people are giving you money. Just go somewhere. And I was like, nope, I'm going to
Nope.
Howard University.
Yes.
And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. I love Howard. And so while I was in DC, I went off and I got a job just like every, person tries to do after they graduate.
Hmm.
And I began teaching for a little bit. Before that, I was working as a tutor and a mentor in Northeast DC, for those
Okay.
that are familiar. And so I went on to teach special needs children at a school in Northern Virginia, lost my job. So, well, I got fired. Um,
Got fired. Let's just
and
keep
that
it
wouldn't be the
100%.
first
It
time I've
happens,
ever gotten
right?
fired.
It happens. It
Yeah,
happens.
and what I've realized though is that, people like me and people like you and, a lot of times we don't do well in 9 to 5 spaces because we're
Right.
so like creative and we think
Yes.
outside of the box and we think for ourselves. And so we tend to question authority.
Absolutely.
And so it's not, bosses don't like that. And so long story short, I got fired and I said I refused to go back home
Mm,
to Virginia. And, I'm from a small town, Petersburg, Virginia, Prince George, Virginia, right outside of Richmond. And I just didn't want to go home. So I packed up everything that I
Wow.
had, put it in my little Nissan Altima. I never forget this car. It had a black door and it was a silver car. And I packed everything up and and I started couch hopping. Couch hopping. So
Wow.
I was bartending, I was nannying, I was doing everything you could do. I've never been a stranger to hard work. I've been working since I was 14.
Mm.
But with that being said, I sent a cold email to a celebrity here in Atlanta. She was a reality star at the time, Dr. Heavenly. Some of you may know her.
Oh, I
Ma-
know it. I watch it with my wife, Married
Yeah,
to
so
Medicine.
married to medicine. And at the time, she had an assistant by the name of Faith who read my
Okay.
email and said, "Yeah, we need some help." And so at that time, I was glad to get a job. They weren't paying much, but I was
Mhm.
happy to be in the mix. Started to meet people, started to network, which is like one of my skill sets, meeting people,
Right.
making contacts. And so a woman by the name of Septosa, who I will forever be indebted to, Septosa Foster, another Black woman. She
Mhm.
opened so many doors for me. She allowed me to come to different events in Atlanta. She allowed me to get on red carpets. She
Wow.
allowed me to make connections and get in rooms that I probably would have never been in. And because of her, I keep saying, I was able to build a network and eventually build my own network of
Yeah.
people, which led to the Black Girl Social Club in 2019.
Yes.
Here we
Yes.
are.
Man, and that's an incredible story and journey, the humbleness to like couch hop, and then also a story of just taking a shot, right? Like, all right,
Mhm.
this is a celebrity. I'm gonna shoot my shot. We're gonna see what happens, right?
Yeah.
As they always say, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right?
Listen, listen, my father used to always say, the only thing they can tell you is no.
That's it. That's it. All right. Okay, no. So that's it. We'll on to the next. And
Right.
so along that line, right, from your dad, like what else did you learn from him?
Oh, I've learned so much, so much. But a couple of things that I've learned, like you never know, never burn a bridge,
Mm,
right? And I know that's a cliche motto, but I really believe in that. Like I really believe in you never know who is who. You never
mm,
know who you're sitting next to. He always used to say that. Treat people how you would want to be treated, whether it's the janitor or the CEO, because you never know who you're talking to, right? And of
yes.
course, you just want to treat people with general respect. But one of the things that I found in this work that I'm doing now, because I'm in rooms with people that are doing some pretty big things, right?
Right.
But I like to say that I'd like to carry myself with humility, right? And so when I go into these rooms, it's always funny because I never do a big thing like, oh, I have this big
Right,
network of
right.
I never do that. I'm Carmen from Virginia,
Yeah.
right? And I actually really don't like when people ask me what I do because then I have to go into a whole spiel. But I'm saying all that to say, remain humble
Yes.
because what you have today could be gone tomorrow, right? And I will go into a lot of these rooms, and people won't know who I am or whatever. And I actually went to an event last week where I was on a panel with a young lady, and she was very spicy, and
Mm.
she didn't know that I was about to be on a panel
Right.
with her.
Right.
And so she was like, so she sat down to me. She was like, "Oh, hello." And now she wanted to be nice. And
Now
I
it's
was like,
different.
right, I'm like, but I just saw you 15 minutes ago. And I
Right.
told her, I said, well, you were a little spicy earlier. Uh,
Mhm.
and she was like, oh, well, but I'm saying all that to say that, when you run into people and when you're interacting with people, remain humble, treat people how you want to be treated. And always remember that, what you have today could be gone tomorrow. So act accordingly.
I totally agree with that, and that's where the leave a better space is for me. It's just like I want to leave interactions better. I want to treat people better. I want to leave spaces I attend better. That
Mhm.
people feel valued after I left the room or had a conversation. Like, man, it was really good sitting and talking to him for 5 minutes, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I started this, and I would like for you to talk more about the Black Girl Social Club. I think that is an amazing thing. I've seen it from its infancy because I've been following you and how
Mhm.
the members have jumped up and how you spread out a little bit more. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that journey.
Oh man. So, like I said, I've always been pretty social and just wanting to do stuff for Black people,
Mhm.
but especially Black women, obviously, because I'm a Black woman. So,
Right.
I wanted to create a space for Black women. Being here in Atlanta, I don't have any family. There were times where I felt pretty lonely and I was looking for a network. And if you've ever been to Atlanta or if you live in Atlanta, you know that you go to these different events and they're kind of pretentious sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, and you don't really make those real intimate connections. So I wanted to solve that problem. And so
Nice.
I created the Black Girl Social Club. And I will say, if you're an entrepreneur out there listening, that, one of the best things you can do as an entrepreneur is solve a problem. You want to be filling a void. So, whatever it is that people are looking for, that's what you create. And it doesn't matter if there's other ones out there. I'm saying all that to say, to me, it didn't initially start as an entrepreneurial endeavor. It started as I need this, and I
Right.
know other people need this, right?
Right.
And so, literally in 2019 is when it started, and that next year we had at least 1,000, 1,500 members. I had never, I was actually shocked at how fast it grew. The Instagram numbers kept going up.
Mhm.
And I wasn't ready. Like, I wasn't
Oh.
prepared, like, for
Ah,
the and so I was just working off of a spreadsheet,
right.
and I was
Just
like,
getting it done. Yep.
yeah, and had to learn as I went, and a
Mm.
lot of people thought that we were more, had been around longer because of how many members we had
Yeah.
and how many, and so I had to tell people, like, "We just been around for a year.
Which is crazy.
This is gonna take some time, right, to
Yeah.
get it where we need it to be," and we're still working 6 years later trying to get it where we need it to be. But I say all that to say, the purpose was to bring Black women together, women who are looking for a space, and just to let their hair down. And
Mm.
I'll say this one last thing because I know that sounds very simple, but it's
No.
meaningful to me because a lot of these clubs and organizations, and trust me, I've been a part of a lot of them, so I'm not putting them down. I'm just showing
Mhm.
the comparison that, I've been a part of Jack and Jill of America, I've been a part of all these other organizations. But you have certain barriers that you
Right.
have to cross before you can join these organizations. You
Mhm.
have to know somebody who knows somebody.
Mhm.
You have to have a certain amount of money, a certain background. I didn't want that. I
Fair.
wanted Black women. If you're Black
You
and
can
you're a
join the group.
woman, you can be a part of this group. So I
Keeping
wanted
it
people,
simple.
yeah, I wanted people to feel welcome. And
Mhm.
I feel like no matter what your background is, you deserve a space and you
Yes.
deserve to be a part of something meaningful, even if you don't have $3,000 to give
Right.
us.
No, and that's fair. And I think the reason it grew, honestly, is because you were being authentic, right? I
Mhm,
think you were just being yourself. You were showing up. You decided that you needed something for you, but also other women. And then I
mhm,
think that's how people connected to you, right? So I think even though you said it sounds small as far as just letting your hair down, that is probably one of the biggest things people want to be able to do is just
yeah,
be themselves around other people, right? Not feel like I have to put up a show or a face or anything like
yeah,
that. I just want to be. And you
yes.
created that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, just wanted to be, and I think that's important, especially now,
Mhm.
with everything
Mhm.
that's going on in the world. People are tired.
Yes.
People are exhausted. People just want to be in community and talk to other people. And the last Surgeon General that left the White House, he said, he prescribed, he said,
Mm.
find community. He said there is a loneliness epidemic. And I'll say this one last thing. One of the things that this organization does is it takes the shame out of wanting to connect or trying
Mm.
to find friends
Right.
because at this age, who
Who's
wants to
who's
play?
trying to
Who's
find
looking for
friends?
a friend? Nobody. And it takes the shame out of it because we're doing the legwork for you. We've
Right.
curated the space, and all you got to do is show up.
That's amazing. So like what are some events that you guys do?
So we do everything, but we do have like some main components that we ask the ladies to abide by. Like you
Mhm.
must do community service. It
Uh-huh.
must be an event around mental and physical wellness. You must have an event around social, so brunch, and events around career and professional development. So we like to stay in those four different categories.
Right.
And as long as you're doing something within those four categories, then you can do whatever you want because these events are chapter led events.
Okay.
So they're doing them at the local level, which means we don't necessarily have a hand in everything that they're doing. But when we do have national events, we do things like retreats. We have an
Mhm.
upcoming retreat coming up in October here in Atlanta. Um,
Nice.
we have a sis giving dinner coming up in November where we're going to have a curated menu and just women, strangers are going to come
Wow.
together and sit around a dinner table and enjoy dinner together. So
That's
those are the
nice.
kinds of things that we like to do.
No, that's great, and that's really building community, like you said. And
Mhm.
you know what? I know men we struggle with that sometimes. Like
Yeah.
we're able to get together. Like I got a close knit network of friends that we're really cool, and we get together. But I'm thinking like on that scale, like could we do it? I'm not sure. I want to say yes, but I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure.
I think you can, and I want to encourage any men that are listening, do it because I've had men come to me and ask me, well, "Why don't you create a black guy social?" I'm like,
Right.
"Listen, y'all, y'all do that, okay?
I got
I
no
don't have
time for that.
time."
Right.
And so, I think men do struggle with that, and for a various amount of reasons that would take me
Mm.
into a tangent. So I'm not going to get into
I
it.
know, girl. I know. I know.
But I think it's necessary
Mhm.
for better Black communities. I think for us to work together as Black men and Black women and have healthy homes and raise healthy children and do all of the things that we want to do as a community, I think it's imperative that Black men find community now.
Yes. No, particularly now, I think
Mhm.
it's like it's a must.
Yeah.
And maybe, you got my mind working a little bit now. So
Yeah. Let's
that's something
collab.
we do. Yeah. No, absolutely. Because I think it is important. And I think maybe around, I think not around, but I think COVID obviously made it worse because there was a lot of
Mhm.
isolation, no interaction like physically. And it made it really tough, like just to have regular conversations. Like people forgot how to do that.
And now everybody's on the internet spiraling out of control
Oh
be-
boy.
because nobody knows how to interact in real life. And it's like, wait, would you say that in real life?
No. Oh, see, this is why I said grace and grit because you start with the grace, but you like, wait, hold on.
Wait
No,
a
I
minute.
know you ain't talking to me like
How
that.
did we get here?
Right. This is not necessary. Right.
Yeah, it gets weird.
No, no. So what else do you have going on? I mean, obviously that's a big part of what you're
Mhm.
doing, but I also want to show the many facets of your life because I think I was just having a conversation about this where we get bogged down with having to do the one thing, right? You go to school
Mhm.
and they say you got to do this. All right, I got to go do this. And then you do that and you're not fulfilled, right? And then you go
Yeah.
chase the next thing and you're not fulfilled. So for me, I want to show people that you don't have to do the one thing.
Yeah.
Follow the stuff that's your passion that you love and go after those things. So what are some other things that kind of ignite that passion for you as well?
So my passion, I really do have discovered my passion is community and
Mm.
it's teaching. I love
Oh,
to teach.
yeah.
Like since you follow me, you know that I have a way of like combining social
Yes.
media with like dropping
Yep.
some sort of educational aspect to it. And that's what I really like to do. So, a couple of things that I'm working on right now. I created a community called CEO Unplugged for entrepreneurs to like find community with one another because if you've ever been an entrepreneur, you know it's very hard to talk to other people who
Right.
are not entrepreneurs because they don't really relate. So there's a huge mental health toll that
Yeah.
entrepreneurship takes on you that we don't talk enough about. So I really want to get more into that next year with my community I've built. I'm also a committee member for the White Dress Project, which is a community of women that talks about fibroid awareness. And
Oh, okay.
so I had fibroids. I had a procedure in July to get rid of my fibroids. And for anybody out there who knows about fibroids, it is a real toll on your reproductive health and your
Yeah.
mental health as well. So that's something else. I'm a committee member, so I help to plan events within their organization. And
Nice.
then the last newest thing that I've been doing is I'm an ambassador for Black Feminist Future, which is a community that gets the word out about voting. And
Oh, okay.
so, I've been working on that and going up to different events, tabling, teaching the community about voting. And then the importance of the upcoming elections. So those are
Yes.
just some of the things that I'm working on.
Yeah, I know. It's just some of the things, said it real light, like you weren't doing a whole bunch of things.
I like to be busy. I
No,
like to,
no, but that's great. And I think,
yeah.
can you speak to how do you balance that busyness?
hmm Yeah. So like today, Fridays are my days where I do what I want to do. Like I
Uh-huh.
don't necessarily do work on Friday. Like I'm
That's
off
fair.
the clock. And I tell my team like I'm not gonna be getting back to you on Friday. And so I take
No,
my
that's
day
it.
off.
That's non-negotiable.
Yeah, like I take my day off. I have hard boundaries. Like usually on a Friday, I would be like running errands or,
Mhm.
going to my appointments, getting a massage, whatever I want to do, right? So
Right.
that's one way. I manage my time very well.
Mm,
And I don't play about my time.
right.
So that's that. And I schedule in joy onto my
Mm,
calendar. So just as much as I want to go hard every day and
yeah.
be an entrepreneur and yay entrepreneurship, I'm also like yay
Yeah.
Mexico, yay happy hour.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I am not going to work myself to death. I'm not interested in that. A few years ago, had to go on leave for 90 days because I was on the verge of breaking down mentally.
Mm,
My father had passed away.
oh
I
goodness.
was trying to run a business. I had a lot of other things going on, a lot of health, not a lot, but a health issue at the time. Just a lot of things that
Yeah.
weigh on me. And so I was to the point where I was going to therapy. And my therapist said, listen, you going to have to calm it down
Mm,
before things go left, right? My
right.
hair was falling out. And so I say all that to say I never want to get back to that point. And I have been able to show myself grace because I'm kind of a perfectionist. I'm type A.
Mhm.
So I really want stuff done and I want it
Yeah.
done now.
I hear you.
But I had to realize, listen, girl, that email is going to be there tomorrow. Ain't what's going to happen if you don't answer it today?
It's
And
true. It's
and
true.
and so, to answer your question, I am very intentional about how I spend my time, and if something, at this point in my life, if something is costing me, like, really taking a toll on my mental health, I I cut it.
No, I think that's a great lesson because as I tell a lot of people, just fill your cup up before you fill
Mhm.
anything else up, right? And you always want to work from a space of overflow. I like to say,
Mhm.
right? So when you filled yourself up so much that it's overflow and people just pulling from the overflow, that's where you want to be at. When they're pulling
Yeah.
from that emptiness, that's what drives you to where you get to, what you said. So how
Mhm.
did you pull yourself out of that, losing your father who you were really, really close with,
Mhm.
going through this business. I know you did therapy, but
Mhm.
did you lean on anybody? Like, were there any tools beyond therapy? Like, how did you get yourself out of that?
Be real with you, I did not lean on anybody,
Okay.
and, you know I think that's one of an area of opportunity for me because
Mhm.
I don't ask for help often. I kind of figure it out. I was
Yeah.
raised to figure it out. Like
Yep.
that's
Yep.
how my dad
That's our
raised.
generation is. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And my mental fortitude, I've always been someone who I don't like to lose. And to me, I was like, you ain't about to lose.
Right.
you
Right.
you better get back in the game. And
Yes.
so, I took that time to work out and eat right.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to beat this. And
Yes.
so, really, and I hate to sound like, cocky, but it was really my own mental fortitude that,
Mhm.
pulled me out. Like prayer, going to
Mm.
therapy, my mental fortitude, and just thinking about my dad and like what he would have liked for me, what he would have liked to have seen from me. And I know he wouldn't want me curled up in the corner crying
Yeah.
every day.
You probably said you got about a day. All right. And after that,
Yeah,
you're gonna have to
let's get it together now.
let's get it together. Right.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's how I think about everything though. That's how I think
Yeah.
about business, that's how I think about life, that's how I think
Mhm.
about relationships. It's like, okay, let's be sad for a little bit,
Yes.
but we got
Yes.
to get back up.
Yeah, we got to get back to work, right? And
Mhm.
I think it's important that you are able to pull yourself out of these things, which is great. I will challenge you to lean on like good
Mhm.
people every now and then, right? Because we want you here for a long time. And sometimes when we keep pushing through, even the best kind of car, right, keeps pushing through,
Yes.
breaks down at some point, right? So for me, I want to challenge you in a healthy way, obviously, because I want to see you around and continue to do all
Yes.
these great things that you're doing for Black women. I think it's amazing. So I want you to always remember to lean on the good people in your life, because I know you have a bunch of good
I
people in your life.
do. I do. I
You
mean,
do,
that's
'cause
great
I see
advice.
the timeline. I know.
Yeah. No, it's great advice. I think it's always been hard for me. And people have
Yeah.
always seen me as the problem solver. So I
Hmm.
don't think that people even know what to ask or how to help. And
That's true.
so I
That's
have to
true.
do better at letting people feel comfortable enough to help me because they'll be like, hey, she got it.
You got right.
She good.
Like,
She'll
no,
be
I
back.
don't. I really honestly don't have it today, right? Can
Yeah. It's
somebody
like, no,
help me?
actually help.
Right.
Help me.
No,
Uh,
it's true. Even me, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I get bogged down with that because
mhm,
I'm like, I got to get it done person, right?
mhm.
And I'll tell you, like, when I first started this podcast, like months ago, I thought about it and I was just like, I'm just gonna go do it. Like, kind of like you said, the Black Girl Social Club, right? But for the first time in like ever, I said, stop, let's prepare, let's get
Yeah.
this done right. Let's talk, let's look at people who you think are gonna create value for other people, right? And that's why
Mhm.
you were one of the first people I went to talk to.
Thank
And then
you.
even the smallest thing, like just you saying, "Hey, can you give me the media kit?" Right? I was like, "Shoot, media kit." I was like, "I don't know about no media kit." So I started looking it up, right? So, but that helped me though, right? So
Yeah.
now all my guests, I create a media kit, right? So they have an idea of what the episode is going to be about. So
Awesome.
so it's little things like that where you're helping leaving it better, right? Not only for me, but for the next person. And if they see this, they might say, "Oh wow, media kit, right? Maybe I need to do that," right? So
Yeah.
me learning to like ask people as well and not just be like, "Yeah, I got it." Got to take some of my own advice.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard, but I think and we learned because I didn't know nothing about a media kit either when I first we don't
Right.
know until we know. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's why it's good to have people around you that know more, right?
Yes.
And then you also, as you learn, you can learn stuff
That's
and you
it.
can tell the next person. So yeah, that's how it's supposed to go.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. That's great. Well, like, were there any like, and I think you might have covered some of this. So if it's redundant, just let me know. But like, any pivotal moments that helped you step into what you're doing?
Think all of my pivotal moments in life, like when I've done like my best work and like have been lost because of
Mm,
loss. Like I lost my job and I would have,
hmm.
if I hadn't, I wouldn't have moved to Atlanta.
True.
I lost my dad, and when I lost him, that's when I got a fire under my behind, and I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, I gotta go hard now. Like, I
Yeah.
gotta really do this." And so, every loss that I've ever had, staff members, people trying to take me out,
Yeah.
divorce, all of these things have created diamonds.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and so
I love it.
it's like, all right, I get to the point now where I'm like, yeah, I need a lesson. Let me get a
Yeah.
challenge right now
Right.
so that I can come out on the other side
That's right. That's
with some
right.
diamonds. Yeah.
Because listen, there's no testimony without a test,
There
right?
you go.
That's it. And
There
now
you
you have
go.
a story that you can share with so many people. And I think that's why I wanted to interview you. And I felt like it was
Mhm.
important that people hear your story, because sometimes people only see the finished product, right? They
Mhm.
only see, how you're showing up now and the Black Girl Social Club and all the other things that you're doing, but they don't know the Carmen that had to, sleep on different couches, right? They don't know the
Yeah.
Carmen that packed up you know, her car and took that trip and took a chance on herself, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's an important story.
Yeah. No, I think what I learned is that a lot of people are just scared. And
Mm,
it's nothing that's not a negative thing. I'm not trying to make that a negative thing. What I'm saying is I know that to be true. I know
right.
that some people are scared to take a chance on themselves.
Yes.
They're scared to do something new. And I want everybody out there that's listening to know ain't nothing to be scared of, because there's a lot of people out here that are just figuring it out. They're
Mhm.
just figuring a lot of the people that you think are very successful or that are successful, they are just figuring it out. Just like you. Every day I learn something new.
Yeah.
So it's there's nothing to be afraid of. The best thing you can do is just start.
Yep.
And even if you fail, that's another piece I want to add. Failure is like a big bad boogeyman to people. And I'm like, who cares? Who cares if you
Right.
fail? Because all you got to do is pick up and start again, try a pivot or figure out
Yeah.
another way to make it happen. But just because you fail, there's no shame in that.
No, it's
I
not.
I failed a million times. I've done a million things wrong. There's so many things I wish I could take back in this
Hmm.
process, but some of those failures were necessary because I would not have learned the lesson that I needed to learn. So,
I
yeah, I
I
mean, fail, fail, fail as much as you want, and
no.
after you do that, you'll get a win.
I agree. And I think if you don't try the thing, you don't know if it's the thing that sticks for you. Right. So you got
Right.
to try the thing. And I remember when I first started my other podcast, which was more hip hop related, and
Mhm.
I liked it and I enjoyed it, but it wasn't the thing. Right. Like I
Right.
enjoyed talking to people and it was good talking hip hop, but this feels like the thing for
Yep.
me. Right. Because
Yep.
I enjoy this. I enjoy hearing stories. I enjoy talking to people that enrich other people, like that care about the health of other people, how they leave community, how they show up. Those things are super important to me, right? And also, as I got older, it's just like, what do I want my legacy to be, right? Like,
Mm,
what do I want my kids to look for? Like, what am I leaving for them beyond anything that is material? And that is what has really pushed my process of thinking of like, okay, let me just do it, right? Like, why not, right? Because I talk to
mhm.
people all the time and they're like, man, I'm encouraged after I talk to you. I'm this after I talk to you. And I'm like, God was giving me all the signs and
Yeah.
I'm running away. I'm running the other way. And I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. And then when you confirmed everything for you, we're like, man, just do it, man. Let's go. It's gonna be great. You're right. Come, let's go. Let's do
Y
it.
you know, people like, that is one of my characteristics, like, one of my good friends, she's like, "You just always just do stuff," and I'm like, "Yeah, like, who cares?" You know? Because, I am I'm a risk taker, and
Hmm.
I like risk takers because I feel like those are the people that come out on top, and there's
Right.
nothing wrong with risks, taking risks, and I'm glad you feel like you found your lane because sometimes it does take a little, like, okay, I
Yeah.
tried that. That didn't really work how I wanted it to. Let me try this other thing. And you'll know
Yeah.
when it's a good fit. And you'll know when the thing that you're doing is what you're supposed to be doing, even if it's only for a short period of time.
Yeah.
And it may lead you into another venture. So
I totally agree with that. And that's a good point. Like, even if this doesn't last forever, but I kind of feel like it will only because of what I feel when I do it. Like there's
mhm.
this like good nervousness about it. Like when I
Yeah.
like even about to start the show, I'm like, okay, I gotta Karma's coming on. I gotta make sure I have the right questions. Am I
Mhm.
prepared? Like I was really thinking about it. I was like, I know she's been on TV, she's done this, and you didn't even come on here and toot your own horn because you've been on some things, right? And you
Yep.
know what? I'm gonna allow you the space to toot your own horn because I
Okay.
want people to understand how far you've come in your journey. So go ahead and toot your horn, girl. Let's
All
hear some of
right.
that stuff.
Let's see. So I was recently on Fox 5 Atlanta, which was
Yep.
very fun with a couple of
Hmm.
other Black female entrepreneurs. A few years ago, I was on Bravo Network with Andy
Yes, I remember.
Cohen.
Yeah.
That was a blast. So I've been in different spaces and places. And I've had a great time. Like I've interviewed celebrities, Kevin Hart and
Yep.
the Terrence J and all kinds of different people. That isn't what those honestly weren't some
Didn't
of my
feel
best
you.
moments. They
Right.
weren't they were fun and they were great to
Right.
do, and I think that's maybe why I don't really talk about them as much is
Mhm.
because to me my best moments are like making things happen and impacting people.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
that's where I feel the best, right? Because you can
Mhm.
be on TV all you want, but that doesn't mean that whatever you're doing is making an impact. And
True.
what you said earlier, I want to go back to legacy.
Mhm.
Because I want my legacy to be that I built something that impacted the lives of other people, that I was someone who spoke up for people who needed to be spoken up for, that I was someone who tried to find solutions for my community. I want to die like that. And
Right.
so, that's the kind of work that I'm going to continue to do. So, yeah, the TV stuff is cool, it's fun and everything, but it's like, I want to be down and getting the work done
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
having people remember that.
Yeah, and you're well on your way on doing that. You're doing that now, right? And I think
Mhm.
it's just going to continue to build and grow. And the more that people hear your story, I think the more it's just going to connect. You're going to probably get more followers on that in that club as well. I think
Mhm.
that is an amazing thing that you're doing. So
Thank
I'm
you.
just glad you took the opportunity to give me some time to talk to you and get to know you a little bit more, other than Instagram, right? You know, and I
Right.
think that was the beauty for me of maybe COVID and everything else and social media is like you get to see all these different spaces of people, and not all of them good, obviously, but you get to meet some people that you probably would have never met in real
Right.
life, right? So I was so happy to come across your page. I was like, man, this is very interesting, really smart, like good quotes about things, like, and I was just like, this. And I wanted to get my timeline positive because they'll switch up your timeline with a bunch of negativity, and I don't want that, right? So
Mm.
I'm just find positive stuff, and I was like, I came across your profile, and I was like, yeah, this sounds like something I want to follow, and being
Yay,
very
thank you.
selective. Yeah,
Yes,
you're welcome.
we've been friends, social media friends for quite some time, and
Yes,
so
yes. I was
I
trying to find how long, and I was like, "Man, it's been a couple years, but I don't know how long." Because it's had to be. Because I remember when your father passed away, and I
um,
also remember the story that you posted about, getting in the car and everything else. So,
yes.
man, I gotta make sure we cover that. So that, yeah, just
Well, I'm
amazing.
glad we did, yeah, and so, social media can be good for some things, right?
Yeah.
It's good for something.
Uh, no, absolutely. So what is I told you what grace and grit mean to me, but what does it mean to you? Like when you saw the episode was named Grace and Grit, like did you have any idea what I was thinking when I
I did because that is it's strangely enough, that's how I think of myself. I mean,
Awesome.
it
Oh,
is
wow.
like when that was the title, I was like, "Wow, that's correct."
Right. That is all right. You got it.
Yeah, no, because, I'll say this. When people that actually know me, they know that I am a kind person, that I
Mhm.
want to give to others, but I don't think anybody would ever um refer to me as the sweetest person or like necessarily like the nicest person,
Right,
right?
right.
I mean, I just know I'm
Uh-huh.
self-aware. I know that that's my truth. But
Mhm.
people also know that I would give them the shirt off my back, that
Right.
I actually care about people a whole lot. And but I'm also the one they call when they need a problem solved. I'm also the one they call when they need somebody to say it how it needs to be said.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I am very direct. I've been trying to work on it. So you have to work on it a little bit when you're working with people because
No, yes.
sometimes
Yes.
I just be wanting to be like, now look.
Mm. Right.
But so when you said grace and grit, I think it's important to hold the two things together, especially when you are a woman who is an
Yes.
entrepreneur and you're
Yes.
dealing with other people because you have to know how to say no. Have to know how to say, no, that's not going to work for me. I want a higher rate. You have to know when to say, no, this partnership isn't going to work because you guys are trying to undercut us. So you have to have grit to be
Yeah.
an entrepreneur. And so I think it's always good to treat people with respect and all of that we talked about earlier. But there's a different side that you have to have in life as well, where you have
Mhm.
to have boundaries and you can't let people walk all over you because they'll
No.
try.
No, they will. Oh, they will try. No, and that's why I felt the episode was appropriate for you because that
Yeah.
they're not trying you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some do,
No,
but
they'll try you, but
it never
they'll
really
get the appropriate response.
Yeah, it never really goes well for them, but yeah,
Right.
hey. And in some things, one of the this is the last thing I'll say about that is that in leadership too, you have to pick your battles. You have to
Yes.
know what to respond to, what not to respond to. And that's a
Mhm.
lesson that I had to learn over the years because it's easy to just say, well, I'm gonna just email this person back and say this. And it's like,
Right.
you don't have to do all that. You sometimes you gotta let you have to you have to be the bigger person.
Yes.
And that's another lesson I put out there for any aspiring entrepreneurs. When you are in a leadership position, you do have a duty to do things differently.
Mhm.
And you do have a duty to showcase behaviors. You have to set the example.
Yes.
And so not everybody always gets the good side of me. Some days I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to be the bigger person,
Right.
but you have to know when to say things because too people out here screenshotting stuff. People are
Oh,
out
man.
here trying to
Yeah.
put people
Yep.
on blast.
Yep.
Be smart when it comes to your business and don't say anything that you wouldn't want the world to see.
I agree. I agree with that
Mhm.
1000%. And I think kind of what you said, there's two things you said. No, right? Being able to say no to some things. And that's one thing I'm learning, right? Because when you say yes to everything, right, you're saying no to something that you really want, right? So you got
Mhm.
to figure out the balance of saying no to the thing that doesn't put value towards you, or it's just the boundary, like you said, creating the correct boundaries. And just saying yes to the right things and having the grit, like you said, to say no, like this doesn't serve me in the right way, right? And
Mhm.
being able to walk away from that and be okay.
Yeah, people don't like that. People don't like no.
No.
And, people don't like when you tell them things they don't want to hear, right? And so you have to be okay with being the bad guy.
Yes.
You have to be okay with being the villain in someone's story. And so
Mhm.
that's why I said, as an entrepreneur, for those that are listening and people that want to do powerful work, that's why mental fortitude is so, so important. I'm going to go back to that. You
Yeah.
have to be able to tell yourself, today's the day I'm going to have to be the bad guy. I'm going to
Right.
have to tell everybody on this team that
Yeah.
they going to have to do something they don't want to do. And going to have to sleep well, knowing that you're doing the best thing for whatever the mission is, whatever the purpose is, and, be okay with it.
Yeah. And that's hard, right? I think I even struggle with that every now and then because I do. I want to be liked. I want people to be
Mhm.
like, but there's some
Everybody
things
does.
that you just can't put up with, and some things you gotta, put your foot down and say, no, this ain't it. And I've
Mhm.
gotten better at that as I've gotten older, but it definitely is hard.
Mhm. It is.
So what do you think what is your leadership style?
Gosh, I don't know, honestly. I'm still working. I'm being coached right now on my leadership.
Oh,
Because I'm very direct.
right.
I say what I mean. And
Mhm.
that doesn't always come off. I'll say this. If I worked in corporate, my leadership style would be perfect because I'm straight to the point
Right.
and, I get the job done and I want
Yeah.
everybody else to get the job done. Because I work in a very unique environment where I work with mostly Black women, this is an environment that is based in sisterhood and community, right? That approach doesn't always work,
Right.
because people are looking for you to show up in a different way. And
Mhm.
I had to realize that there's some things I need to work on in terms of my leadership, how I say things, how I do things. To me, if I just say I need this should just be
That should be enough, right?
black and white, right?
Right.
But for others, they may need you to say, "Well, Jessica, how are the dogs today? How's the baby?
How's the
Okay,
baby?
when you get a chance, can you please," it's like,
That's too much time for you right
yeah,
there.
it's all of that.
You
You got
try
to
to
do.
shorten it up.
And I'm learning that, those things are
Oh,
required. And so, I'm really working on my leadership. I'm being coached.
that's
Thankfully,
great.
I hired a wonderful person that's on my team now who is helping coach myself and the team so that
Oh,
we
that's
can
awesome.
create a better culture and a better communication style. But to answer your question, I don't know if I can answer that, but I'll say I know that I'm very direct. I'm very results driven. I'm a
Mhm.
results driven leader.
No, that's okay. And I think the beauty is that you're looking to grow and be even better leader, right? So,
Mhm.
and then the staff sees that, right? So it's not just say, hey, you guys gonna get coached. I'm over here. I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep doing what I'm doing. So it shows that you have the ability to adapt and grow as well.
Yeah. Always have to have the ability to grow because if you don't, you're going to keep getting those results that you don't want. You can
Hmm.
think that you're going to keep doing it your way and it's going to work out, but no, honey. If
Mm-mm.
whatever environment that you're in, you need to make sure that you're adapting to that environment
Yeah, you either adapt or you
or
leave
get
the
out.
environment.
Yeah.
Right? And I tell people that all the time. Like, you get people that complain about being in the same spot or being in the same job or doing whatever it is that they complain about. And then like, okay, are you going back tomorrow? Yeah, I'm going back tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
just saying this. So
Okay,
I
well
say,
then
oh,
you're going to have
at
to
what
do
point
you're
do
going to have
you
to do
want to
what the boss
leave?
said then.
Right, right.
If you gonna stay. So that's what I tell people. It's like, look, you got to, and that's what I tell my team too. It's like, look, this is how we do it here.
Yeah.
Like, take it or leave it. It's not that we don't want feedback, but we'll take feedback. I think it's hard for a lot of people to take direction from a Black woman, and I'm finding that it's kind of hard in from other Black women to take instruction from other Black
Mm,
women.
wow.
And so that was a bit of a shocking revelation for me throughout this
Hmm.
process that, I wasn't always taken seriously in
Mm,
my leadership. People thought that they could play with me. People thought that we were going to be besties instead of me being
doing the
their
work.
their
Yeah,
boss, right, and
right.
doing the work. So, I've had to navigate that as well. So it can get tricky.
So how did you change that, right? That mentality with the other people that came to you at a way that they thought they were your friend, right? And not saying you can't be cool, but you got to
Yeah.
know where your boss is your boss.
Right. Yeah, like don't get me wrong, I like to be friendly, but I don't like to be friendly if the work isn't done.
Mhm.
Um and so what I had to do was I had to build a team that could support me because, like I said, I brought in this team leader now who she's doing some of the work that I would have been doing. She's kind of acting like a liaison.
Right.
And then I brought in a new COO who's helping me navigate that. And so really and truly, I'm gonna be real with you, the answer has been creating space
Mm,
between me and the staff, so I can do CEO founder
yeah,
stuff,
right.
and my team manager can manage the team because it is extremely hard to manage an entire organization and
Yeah.
manage your team.
No, that's a lot. It's a lot.
And there's gonna be some days when you're not feeling your best, or when you're gonna be a little snappy, or when you're gonna be
Mhm.
like drained. And so, what I found is creating that distance creates a different level of respect, right? Because
Mhm.
it's not you just talking directly
Right.
to me every day, all day, and then um, it provides a different perspective for the team. So it's not just me saying it; it's
Right.
other people are telling
Right.
you the same thing. So reinforcing a culture that we want to see.
Oh, that's great. And I
Mhm,
think that's important. Culture is super, super important. And
mhm.
I think if you create the right culture, you can build anything like by 10 times, 1,000 times, because there's people that are buying into what you're trying to do, right? And I think
Yeah.
you said something important as well, that you said, you tell them how it is. This is how we do it here. And it's
Mhm.
okay if this doesn't work for you. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes people aren't comfortable with that. Like you said, like, wow, she really told me I want to be here. I'm like, no, I'm not saying you don't want you here, but I'm letting you know what it
But
takes to be
here,
here. Right. This is what we do right here.
when you're
Right.
getting paid here,
Right.
this is
This
how
is
it
how
needs
it's
to be
going
done.
down.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Exactly.
So I think that's important is understanding the spaces you want to be in. And it's okay to not want to be in that space, right? So I think people learning that and navigating that as well is another good lesson. So I'm glad you shared that as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
I got like two more for you because I know
Okay.
this is your day. It's your day.
Yes.
I'm not trying to take too much of your time. So staying on the leadership topic, right?
Mhm.
So how has faith played into your leadership style or role?
You know, ah, that's a good question. I don't know that it really has that much.
Okay.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Um, I haven't always been the most religious person. However, in the last few years, I've kind of come to the other side of
Right.
things, and I do a lot more praying, and that kind of thing. But I will say, I noticed how my COO, who is extremely, she's a Christian, and she goes to church
Right.
every Sunday, and for as long as I've known her, and I've known her for about, well, over 20 years now, she's been that way.
Mm.
And her leadership reflects that. The way
Mm.
that she shows up is just amazing, and I actually envy it because
Wow.
I look at her, I'm like, wow, I wish I could show up like that.
Right.
And she leads with so much grace. She
Yeah.
leads with so much love. And I know that it is a result of her faith. And
Mm.
so, I can't sit up here and take credit and say that I have it, that I'm anything like her, or that my faith is leading me in
Right,
that
right,
way. Because it's
right.
not. I'm working on getting there, but she is a great example of someone who leads from that place, and
Mm.
it's extremely obvious.
No, that's great, and maybe that's why she's here, right? For
Mhm.
you, right? For you to see those
Absolutely.
examples on a daily basis and
Mhm.
pull from it. Not that you have to be her, but it helps, when you see people doing certain things and how they handle situations, and you look at it like, maybe just I can add a little bit of this,
Yeah,
just a
I
little
told her,
bit
I
here,
said,
right?
"Just rub off a little bit
Little bit, right? That's
of it
all I
on me."
need, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So I
all.
love the way that she shows up, and I know for a fact that the reason is because she believes that's how she should show up as someone who is a believer.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's an awesome story. So
Mhm.
my last question for you is when you hear leave it better, like what does that mean for you?
Oh, leave it better. I think which what we touched on earlier is just like when you're engaging with people, when you're creating things like your podcast, for example, and someone, will have listened to this podcast and they will leave better. I believe in creating things that have an impact on people. I believe in a legacy. So for me, leaving things better means creating something that people will know about long after you're gone. And it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be that monumental, but things that impact other people in a positive way is
Hmm.
what I think about when I hear leave it better. So whether you went to the doctor's office and you smiled at the front desk
Right.
receptionist and you said, "Girl, your hair is so cute." And she's
Right.
like, "Thank
Thank you. Right.
you."
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, and so having that spirit, I think, is really important. And I'm working every day more and more to leave things better than I found them.
Hmm.
Because I'm not perfect at all, and that's what I'm working towards. But I know that my organization that I created, that I'm so proud of, I
Yes.
know that those ladies are going to be leaving better. And I tell people,
Yes.
you're not gonna come in here and leave how you came in. You're gonna have learned a lesson. You're gonna have learned more about yourself. You're gonna learn more about others. You're gonna give back to the community. You're gonna leave better, and you're gonna leave other people better. And
Love it.
so that's my hope, and that's what I think about when you say that.
No, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Like
Mhm,
that's exactly what I wanted to embody, right?
mhm,
And I think what you said, the smallest thing of just smiling, say, "Hey, yo, girl, your hair looks good today," right?
mhm.
People think it's the big things, and it's
Yeah.
really not. It's really, really not. So thank
Mhm,
you for sharing that. And before I let you go, I want you to be able to share, how do people get on the Black Girl Social Club? The
mhm.
CEO Unplugged, like talk about those things and how we can get in contact with you.
Yeah, so just follow us at the Black Girl Social Club. So you got to put the in front of it because there's a lot of fake pages out there now.
Uh, mm,
So the Black Girl Social Club, we will open for membership next year. Right now we're doing a lot of planning in this fourth quarter coming up. So yeah, January, February, we plan to open again for membership of
nice.
2026. And as far as CEO Unplugged, you can follow me on Instagram at carmen.nicole.jones. And I'll be posting more about that soon as well. So yeah, that's about it.
Awesome. And I'll put all this, for everybody that's listening, I'll have all their, contact information if you want to join. And you have one more thing coming up, right? I think in Atlanta is an event you're doing.
Yes, we have a retreat October 11th at Paradise Park ATL, which is an amazing Black-owned space where they just have lots of land and they have a creek and they have fresh food they're growing on the land. And so we'll be there doing all kinds of spa activities, connecting with one another, picking fruit, all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
And so we'll be doing that October 11th, and you can still get your tickets in the bio of the Black Girl Social Club
There you go.
Instagram page.
Awesome. See, I want to make sure we got that in because I was like, I
Mhm.
thought I
Thank
remember seeing something
you.
else.
Oh, I
I
almost
got you.
forgot.
I
Mm.
got you. I got you. So, no, but again, Carmen, thank you so much for your time. It's particularly since Fridays is your day to do you, that you made a conscious choice to do this podcast with me. I really
Yeah.
appreciate
No,
that.
this was something that I wanted to do. So I put it on my Friday
Uh,
schedule. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, and thank you for taking a chance. A lot of times people are just like, "Nah, I'm good." Right, all right. But
Yeah.
the thing that happened to me, luckily, is everybody I asked was like, "Yeah, let's do it." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay." So I really got to do this now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's thing, right? And it's like
Right. Yeah.
forcing you to do the thing. And
Yes.
anybody who's ever done anything, and I'm gonna imagine you're talking to people who have created things,
Hmm.
they know how hard it is to start something and
Yeah.
see it through. So I would imagine that anyone who, has done something like that, they want to help. They want to
Yeah.
push the mission forward. And so I was happy to say yes because I know it's not easy to jump out there. And I know it's gonna be an amazing podcast. So
Thank you, Carmen. You've set off the first guest episode. Thank you so much.
yay! Number
And yeah,
one, once
yes, you're
again.
the first. You're the first. You said you
I
want to do
won.
everything. You
I'm
want to
just
right. You got it. You did it first. Right. Shoot. And let's connect on, like, we talked about the other stuff with the Black Earth Social Club and something with some with men. Like, let's figure out something because
yeah,
I
maybe
feel
we
like
could
there's some
start something.
synergy there that we can we can make something happen.
Yeah, maybe you could start a chapter there. You could be the pilot chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more. We'll talk. But you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again so much. I appreciate your time, and thank you for choosing me. And like I say at the end of every episode, when you leave, please leave it better.
All right.
All right. Thank you for listening to Leave It Better. I'm Dwain Daniels, and my hope is that today's conversation gave you a little more peace, a little more hope, and a reminder that how we show up still matters. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need it. And remember, when you leave it better.